So he comes, looks at me with a smile on his face and says, "You are a C5, C6 quadriplegic, and you'll never walk again." And I think I cried for like half an hour. And finally I was like, you know what? No, this isn't gonna be my story.
Put it all out there. Let's laugh about it. It's so ridiculous. Some of the things that we go through in our daily lives are so ridiculous.
I don't like it. I normally don't like all like that fluffy stuff, but why are you afraid of fluffy things?
We're all looking for our people, that special group of friends that just get each other, that always have each other's backs. The Alberta Wheel Girls are that special group, and they have found a unique way to support each other, even though these friends live all over the province. This is Wheel Girl Stories. I'm Beth Deer.
We were on a phys ed trip and we're on the way back when the girl that was driving came up too close behind another vehicle that was supposed to be turning, and she turned hard one way and then back, and we ended up rolling.
Carissa Irwin was an average, healthy 16-year-old teen living in small-town Alberta, enjoying a fun afternoon out with a friend when she was involved in a car accident that suddenly changed her life forever.
I remember the day I found out it was a spinal cord injury. It was a nurse telling me about a friend who was a quad who still does all these things in life, and I was like mouthing to her like, "What's a quad?" And she said, "Oh, that's quadriplegic." And I was like shocked, obviously, and thinking like, what is my future gonna look like? And just scared being 16 and finding out that kind of information.
I met Carissa when she was first injured. I was actually asked to go to the hospital to see her. She very much reminded me of myself.
Brandis Slorch is a registered social worker living in Calgary who works for Spinal Cord Injury Alberta as a client services coordinator. She works daily to help people with spinal cord injuries once they become outpatients. At the age of 21, a car accident nearly severed Brandis's spinal cord and altered her life.
She was in a motorized wheelchair. She was in a position where she didn't really want to talk to anyone about what was going on, about what her injury, about what her life might look like. But she was definitely listening.
She was, I think, 3 or 4 years injured at that time, and she's also a quad like me, and seeing her come there and like taking the access bus and being out on her own, and I was like, wow, that's still a possibility that I could do that.
And it was through her experience with Carissa that Brandis recognized the existing spinal cord injury support network wasn't as connected as she felt it could be. And that gave her an idea.
I saw a need for women with disabilities and spinal cord injuries to have relationships with others, because the things that we go through in our life, they're quite unique sometimes to our injury and quite specific. And then I know Bean from Edmonton, so I thought I'd get in touch with Bean and see if she thought that there would be any interest.
Bean Gill is the Executive Director of REU Paralysis and Recovery Centre in Edmonton and has been a wheelchair user since 2012.
Yes, since I was paralyzed, I have wanted a crew of girls in chairs. I'm a very extroverted person. I'm somebody who likes to bring people together.
Having both been part of an active community of wheelchair users in Alberta for many years and knowing the importance of peer support, Brandis and Bean decided it was time to start Alberta Wheel Girls, an online support group where at least 16 women could meet on Zoom once a week. Together with Carissa, they started inviting others to join, like Grand Prairie's Keisha Mastrodemus.
Honestly, they are unstructured, uncensored, unfiltered, and random. So I'm all naked. I just have my hospital gown, and my parents, or my mom, wanted to take me on a walk downstairs. Very rarely do we come in with a topic. We just start talking, and then 2 hours is gone.
20-year-old Emma Reid is the youngest member of the Alberta Wheel Girls and the newest wheelchair user, having become a quadriplegic in December of 2019.
It's nice to talk to people that get it because they know what you've been through. They've been through the same thing, so they know the right answers. They know how to help. They know how you feel. Because honestly, not many people know how we actually feel, like, deep down.
I think that was delayed 5 to 7 years for me because of a little bit of a chip on my shoulder about, I don't need to have friends with disabilities. I have nothing in common with them. Okay, I have everything in common with them.
Margaret Conquest knew many of the Wheel Girls previously through other initiatives and activities, and tells us what she gets from these weekly sessions.
A candid group of women. So that's also very refreshing, is to hear somebody else who will just like blurt something out about them. Not blurt it out, but share the unvarnished truth.
Honestly, the second day after being paralyzed, one of the first thoughts was, who's gonna date me? Who's gonna date a girl in a wheelchair?
To me, everybody respects the other person's perspective and the lens through which they see things, whether or not they agree with them personally. Plus, I need to feel young by being in contact with young people.
It is that support that all the Wheel Girls are finding out is so important to the newly injured, just as it was for Carissa.
You learn as your injury progresses that it's really important to stay connected with other people with injuries that can relate to what your day-to-day goes like.
I've been trying to do some sort of meditation every day, and I do prefer it in the mornings or right before bed, but this morning I was like, okay, when could I do it? So I did it in the bathroom. Worked out great.
That's nice.
Carissa and her fiance are now busy planning their upcoming wedding, and she hosts a popular YouTube channel.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going over things in my home that make my life easier.
She has come so far. I am so proud of Carissa. She's really willing to share her life with others, and in details that maybe some people wouldn't share, but she will share that detail with others to help them the best that they can in their recovery.
Which is the same sentiment shared between all the Alberta Wheel Girls, who welcomed one another with open arms.
Just like the social connection between women with different ages and different levels of injury, but still having that same connection of living this life. It's a safe space for all of us to vent and talk about anything, if it's your normal life stuff or relationship and sex. There's just nothing off limits in our group.
It's quite a simple concept, right? It's a group of women coming together in a chat room, but the way that they're able to grow personally just from the chat room, I think is powerful.
More to come on Wheel Girl Stories. Welcome back to Wheel Girl Stories. I'm Beth Deer. As I started to get to know the Alberta Wheel Girls, I quickly realised they aren't just your average group of women meeting once a week to talk about their injuries. They are a sisterhood, coming together, sharing ideas about their everyday lives and their challenges, joking with each other, telling funny stories, and sometimes very personal stories to each other, and mentoring one another. Brandis told me what made this group of friends so special.
You don't know what you're going to get when you get a big group together, right? But I think what was really neat is that the members of the group felt comfortable right away talking about different topics and really taboo topics at times.
We talk about sex a lot, almost in every Zoom session.
They actually do suggest that maintenance sex is really important and that good enough sex is really important.
Originally, the group was only going to be for 40 and under, but then there was Margaret.
Yes, I am no holds barred graphic. I swear a lot. I don't feel like I'm 46. I feel like I'm 26, even though I'm not.
And I started telling dirty jokes with my feet in the stirrups. And Dr. Gray, it was Dr. Gray, the urologist. I said, I'm way funnier when I'm when I'm high. And he goes, everyone is. Turn it up. And that was it.
Even though humour and laughter are a big part of the group dynamic, one important component is education and mentorship. This is where Margaret usually comes in.
So I was injured in 1991 in Westlock, Alberta, a small town just outside of Edmonton. And I have a C6, C7 injury that I got from a gymnastics accident during our regular grade 11 phys ed class. I had to start to look at the future farther ahead than I might have wanted to at that time. And so you better figure out how to be happy with that change, whether or not it is in keeping with your original plan.
Margaret has always led an active lifestyle and has never let her injury slow her down. And with both physical education and health studies degrees, she is the ideal wheel girl to help the group with their fitness or sexual awareness questions.
If I haven't read about it, if I haven't done it, I don't have any troubles looking for the right information. Sometimes it's hard to figure out where to look for stuff.
And Margaret, you've been married for a long time. What type of things do you and your husband do for fun?
Well, there's the obvious things we do together. Sorry.
That's hilarious.
A lot of these things people don't talk about, and Margaret is just like, oh yeah, that's a normal Tuesday conversation for me, right?
And even dumb things, not dumb, they're not dumb at all, but things like, how do I talk dirty to my partner? No one talks about that. Nobody.
She is awesome. And the thing about Margaret is the advice that she gives doesn't just come from being in a wheelchair. It's just knowledge that every woman needs to know that Margaret has and she wants to share.
And I will bring just about every conversation back to sex. Coffee, sex, cars, sex.
Margaret, why do you think it's so important to talk about sex?
The important part isn't how you are going to figure out whether or not you're going to get pregnant. It's about connecting with your partner, connecting with your body, your self-image, and not being apologetic about the pursuit of pleasure.
I couldn't agree with you more, Margaret, honestly.
The conversation of pleasure between two people and between one person and themselves even.
She's even more open than I am, but it just makes you feel more comfortable to go to her and be like, well, shit, after we talk about that, anything else is minor.
And so when it comes to sex, when it comes to sexuality, sexual health, pleasure and intimacy, Margaret is your go-to girl.
I'll be honest, I get some youthfulness from this group, for sure. If I get to hear about everybody's random hookups, this is all good. I'm not doing that, but they can go for it.
Like any successful team or group, you need diversity and a healthy mix of different ideas, opinions, and advice to make it all work.
Well, anytime anybody has any exercise questions, they're usually directed at me.
I think I bring fun, I bring profanity to the group.
I'm the youngest, I'm the newest, so they like to hear about how everything went and how everything's going and how my home is going and all that stuff.
What I tell people is to celebrate the small victories, that you can roll side to side in bed, that you can put your pants on, your socks on.
Probably my openness, my rawness, my vulnerability. I live on that. I will put myself out there so hardcore where I'm vulnerable as shit.
Oh, Keisha is a light.
Growing up in a large and loving family in Grand Prairie, Alberta, Keisha has never been shy and has always been positive.
Well, I like to think of myself as a pretty optimistic person. I like to use my humor as much as I can. I find that helps with connecting with people, as well as dealing with my trauma, my insecurities, and all of that.
Keisha then shared a uniquely personal story with me, and one that she had also shared recently with the entire group.
Okay, so with a spinal cord injury, there's a lot more to it than not being able to walk. I learned that real fast. So I put on my hospital gurney. I didn't have much clothes on, and I'm getting pushed in my wheelchair. We go downstairs and there's a really long hallway with bright open windows and tons and tons of people walking through. And one of my friends bows down to my little brother and was like, oh, and he's about 2 2 at the time. "Oh, Jessie, you stink." And I was like, "Oh shit, that ain't Jessie." So I turn around and there is a trail of shit leading right up to my wheelchair. So I like threw the blanket over my head and I was like, this is not happening. I am 17 years old at this time. Ugh. And people going down the hallway, "Oh my gosh, someone just shit in the hallway."
Their reaction on every girl's face at the same time and us laughing is just like, it's incredible.
I'm not saying that it's a bucket list thing or anything, but I didn't even have to clean it up. And who says that they could shit in the hallway like that? So, I mean, it's a great story now.
She is just very raw and super funny.
Oh, I just love her. She's always laughing, saying kind things. She's just such a positive person. Like, it's amazing.
Her ability to share and express her positivity is kind of unlike anybody else's.
Once you start looking at yourself in a different light and you're just like, I have this and I don't give a crap because that's awesome. And now well, it's a little bit fake confidence, but it still works. Boys still think it's confidence.
And she is single with a capital S. And I find that very fun.
My joke is I won't be the one to walk away from the relationship. I got 99 problems, but a good parking spot ain't one.
Like she's got so many funny dating stories as well. And one of her quotes is, "Shoot your shot." So when she sees a hot guy in a restaurant or whatever, she'll wheel over to him and like slide her number over.
She's crazy. She's like, "Hello, my phone number is."
I absolutely love that.
She's living life out loud. So I love that about her.
But we all have those stories.
We all have those stories for sure.
Yep.
Stay tuned for more Wheel Girl stories. You're watching Wheel Girl Stories. I'm Beth Deer. The more I got to know these women, the more I started to feel a common bond. I understood what they loved about this group. Just knowing you have your people, your special group of friends who have been through what you have, is so important. And much like these women, I feel like I've lived 2 different lives. One before I lost my sight, and the life I live now.
I think anytime anybody goes through a life traumatic or a traumatic incident, you are changed. Whether you want to admit it or not, you are changed.
Brandis, being said that anyone who's gone through a traumatic experience, they feel changed. Do you feel changed too?
How many people out there can say that they have had the chance to live 2 completely different lives? And I've been given that chance.
I was mainly a shell of a person. I had a fully working body, but I didn't know who I was. And this injury forced me to find out who I am.
I think I had to grow up a lot faster than other people being put in this position, and I feel a lot older than I am in a way because of that.
I was a whole different person back then, not a very great one, right up to the accident. So I got my chance, but I was given another chance to be better.
Well, I wouldn't repeat the thing I did to become spinal cord injured, and I wouldn't suggest anyone go ahead and do it. My life is far richer and very interesting because of having had a spinal cord injury and meeting the people that I met.
Yes, I would love to be on my feet walking. It would make life a lot easier, but it doesn't make my life any better.
Before my accident, I just kind of hid out, went to work, went to bed, went to work, went to bed, and I was a pretty upset and depressed person. And then linking up with Alberta Wheel Girls, that helped me a lot, definitely.
In December of 2019, while driving down a rural Alberta road one night, Emma Reed hit a moose and broke her neck and spent the next 6 months in hospital.
I've only been out for 5 months, so I'm still figuring everything out. It's very new to me, very difficult in some ways. Yeah, and I'm just trying to get back to my normal life.
And Emma, how did you get through that experience right after your accident?
I'm a really shy person. I don't get out there too much, so I have a hard time talking to people. But right after my accident, when my mom found out I was quadriplegic. She actually like YouTubed quadriplegic to kind of see like people's attitudes and how they get through it and stuff. And she came across Keisha.
Almost exactly 6 years before Emma's car accident, Keisha was also driving down a rural Alberta road on a wintry night and hit a moose, leaving her with a broken neck and months of being in hospitals and rehab. With both girls' accidents being so eerily similar and both living in northern Alberta, it wasn't surprising that they connected and felt a strong bond.
I feel like she's my little sister, and that whenever she's going through something, whether she's having a bad day or like something specific, she comes to me and she asks me the questions.
She helps me get through things. I always have somebody to message or talk to if I'm upset. Yeah, it's really nice having her.
Because I live on my own, because I drive and everything that she's seen in my life, she feels that that's possible for her. So I hope that she can see herself in me, that there's a future for her.
Keisha introduced Emma to the Wheel Girls, and Emma found herself part of a unique community.
It honestly, it changes you, and it makes you think above yourself, that you have to think about what you do because these people are watching, because these people care.
It's just nice seeing everybody's lives, how they're different with their different injuries and how they live with them, how they do things. So they help like literally with anything. Like that group chat is just amazing.
I'm so happy that you're part of this group already and that you have all of us to help you through this from the very beginning, because that's gonna help you for sure.
It is so awesome that Emma is part of the group, and I know every woman in that group is thinking, I wish that I had Alberta Wheel Girls when I was first injured.
I've gotten to know these 6 girls, and they are all so inspiring, but it's important to know that the Alberta Wheel Girls are more than just these 6. The group is now more than 30 women, spread across the province and growing. Most meet weekly on Zoom, while some chat regularly on Instagram. And there's never an agenda, just friendship and support. I asked them all if the group has a motto, and it turns out it does.
Welcome to the coolest club you never asked to be a part of.
It's like we never asked to be a part of this group. We never probably would have in our wildest dreams, but it's everything we needed.
Well, it's a support group I didn't know I needed, for sure. But you find great camaraderie in a group of people who are also keeping their heads above water and getting through the day, some days better than others, and always with a ton of humor.
I never thought that I'd be in a group like this, but we're also positive. We want to help everybody. So it's just awesome to be a part of that.
This is a group that, yeah, most people don't want to be a part of it. But when you are a part of it, it's a great feeling.
Because it's so true. We would have never met each other if we weren't in wheelchairs, but it is like the coolest club ever. And I absolutely love it. So I'm so thankful to be in a wheelchair just to have met these women. Yeah, I'm so glad we found each other, for sure.
Host, Beth Deer. Producer, Lance Corbett. Videographer and editor, Patrick Kelly. Media Accessibility Specialist, Simone Cupid. Audio Post, Mark Phoenix. Graphics, Mike Smith. Senior Producer, Michelle DUDAS. President and CEO, David Errington. Copyright 2021 Accessible Media, Inc.